In this day and age, there is a way to insure almost anything and everything. But spending a fortune to cover every single thing that you own may not always be feasible. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese. In today's video, we are discussing what the most important insurances to have are. Different types of insurance has been around forever. However, that list of things that you can cover has grown exponentially, meaning the list has become endless. Companies have really gotten smart and found ways to play on your emotions to get you to hand over your cold hard-earned cash for something that may not really be worth it. Today, I'm going to try and filter out the crap and provide some insight into the ones that I believe are the most important insurances you should potentially consider having. Insurance is all about protecting what you have now and what you may need in the event of the unexpected. As you travel through life, the protection and cover that you need is likely going to change based on how your life changes. The key to selecting the right insurance is understanding your current needs and understanding what type of cover and the level of cover that you may require for these needs. Being overinsured is a waste of money, but being underinsured can leave you being concerned, worried, stressed, and actually in a vulnerable position if something were to occur. Let's look at some of the types of insurance that may be relevant to you. As a disclaimer, obviously everyone's financial position is different and what their needs are is also different. Some of the insurances I talk about in this video will be directly applicable to your financial situation and some may not. In no particular order, I've put together a list of 6 insurances which I'm going to discuss in this video, which I believe you definitely should consider having depending on your situation. The first is home and contents insurance. Owning a home or an investment property is generally a person's most expensive asset. This is one of the most important insurances to have because it can directly affect and heavily impact your financial position and potentially your livelihood. In my opinion, this is one of the types of insurances that you should have by default. There shouldn't even be a question. If you own a multi-$100,000 property that you're either living in or allowing someone else to live in, if you lose that, it's going to be devastating to your life. Even if only a small portion of your property is damaged or it burns to the ground, having this insurance is going to put your mind at peace and it's only going to cost you a couple of $100s a year, which I ultimately think that the trade-off is going to be worth it for this type of insurance. Ultimately, the purpose of having this insurance is so that you aren't left footing the bill in the event that something does occur to your property. The second item on my list is motor vehicle insurance. So traveling is generally a part of most people's lives. You will drive somewhere, you will ride a motorbike somewhere, it may be work, friends' houses, partners, just going out to be active, going to the gym, the shops, whatever. Everyone is mobile. Most people drive. Most people have a vehicle that they own. In most circumstances, it's going to be in your best interest to take out a policy to cover that vehicle. Considering the associated risks with driving being one of the most likely forms of way that you will have an incident or accident in your life because of the amount of time you spend in a vehicle, it's always going to put your mind at ease knowing that you're insured. Realistically, if your vehicle holds any type of value at all, protecting that asset is always going to be in your best interest because it will pay itself off over time, even if you never actually make a claim, purely because you will have the peace of mind as you're always driving it, knowing that this asset that may be worth thousands of dollars will be covered in the event of an incident. So far, these 2 insurances are definitely up there with things that you should be considering having, and I would be shocked if you owned a home and didn't have one. And the same with a car. Most people generally will have an insurance policy attached to their car. Here's where a little bit of thought has to go into it. We're going to talk about private health as item number 3. Your need for private health insurance will depend on a few things. The first will be based on your income. An easy decider to help figure out whether or not you do or don't need private health insurance would be dependent on if you have to pay the Medicare levy surcharge, which I have made a video about and I will be linking in the description below at the time of its release. Now, as a summary, if you are required to pay this Medicare levy surcharge, it is most likely going to be in your best interest to take out even a basic level of cover because it will pay for itself in the form of you not just having to foot an extra bill, that being the Medicare levy surcharge, and instead you're getting something back, such as a teeth clean, dental checkups. I actually used my private health, surprisingly. I got my wisdom teeth out and I got it discounted massively, and I wasn't even expecting to use the cover. So just having it in the world where I earn enough money to have to pay the Medicare levy surcharge, and instead I avoided that by taking out private health, it's been beneficial to me to have. I considered it, I weighed up the options, and I ultimately took out a cover which has paid off in the long run. This is something that I would encourage you to research in depth, because there are many filler and crappy covers out there which aren't going to provide you any value at all. Ultimately, there are good covers out there, and there are some that would be even cheaper than actually paying the Medicare levy surcharge based on your earnings. So do your research, especially if you fall into this category. Factors that would be a very clear indicator that you don't need private health insurance is, for example, if you're on a family plan where you're already covered by your family's private health insurance. I know lots of people up to the age of 25, I believe it is, that are on a family plan, and I know a couple who actually took out their own separate private health insurance, and I kind of sat there and went, why are you doing that? You're fully covered on that plan. What a waste of money. So make sure that there aren't any factors that are kind of putting you already in that position where you don't need the cover. And finally, if you're happy using the public system, which is Medicare in Australia, which is a fantastic service, keeping in mind that lots of other countries don't have a private health system that is fully funded by the government, that you may be happy with that service and you may not actually need private health, knowing that in the case of an emergency, you will most likely come out of it without having to foot a massive medical bill. So private health is one to definitely think about and consider, but it may not always be necessary based on your financial position. So fourth on the list is TPD and income protection. Now this is usually covered by your superannuation, but there are many different variations of it, and I don't know if you actually know this, but have the ability to fully customize the amounts that you're covered for. Generally, the fees associated with this cover comes right out of your superannuation fund, so it's already covered. You're not even paying anything out of your own pocket, but be mindful that you want to customize it to work for you. This cover is something that most working Australians will have in some form or another. Just make sure that it's tailored for your needs and you aren't paying out your ass in fees. You can check this by logging onto your superannuation fund and actually going through the sections which allow you to customize it. For example, I am covered for $300,000 if I die as part of my TPD cover. And my income protection will cover my salary up until the age of 65 in the event of a catastrophic event happening to me and me needing that money to survive. Ultimately, it's low risk, but it's something that most people, especially workers in Australia, have. Number 5 on my list is very similar to private health insurance, and that is pet insurance. When I say similar, it is completely dependent on your situation. If you don't have a pet, don't worry about it. Let's skip to the next one. As I said, pet insurance is completely circumstantial. Depending on the type of pet and the breed of the pet, it may be worth taking out this cover, knowing that down the line, you may have to be footing a bill of thousands of dollars. I know people on all sides of the fence. I know some who have had the cover and never used it. I know some who have had the cover and saved tens of thousands of dollars in surgery fees and upfront fees going to the vet. I know some that have never had it and never required it. I know some that have also never had it and actually required it, where they've been out of pocket thousands of dollars. This is something that if you have the money to put towards it, may be valuable to you, but it may not also be the most necessary on my list. Just keep in mind that if you do own a pet and it's something that may be a risk to you and your ability to look after that pet, pet insurance may put your mind at ease in the event of something unfortunate occurring. And the last item on my list is travel insurance. Now, this one is only going to occur when you travel, realistically out of country. I've put this one on the list because outside of the smaller claims where if you lost your sunglasses or your wallet and needed to claim that back, ignoring them or putting them aside, if something serious were to occur, in other countries without a public healthcare system funded by the government, you could be out of pocket thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars and not have any way to pay those bills. Travel insurance is generally a relatively low expense based on the time that you're going away for, and it's something that you should absolutely have when planning on traveling. Personally, I don't really want to worry when I'm out of country and I'm on a holiday and I'm trying to enjoy myself. So the peace of mind for the small fee associated with this insurance is absolutely worth it. I highly encourage that when traveling, you do your research and shop around, because there are many competitive travel insurance companies out there which all offer different benefits, and you can generally get the cheapest one even down from what they're going to charge you just by negotiating. Insurance provides protection for you and your family. It can give you peace of mind and reduce stress, and in the event of a seriously devastating occurrence, can keep you out of hot water. This video was intended to give you the general concept of some of the most important insurances you should have or consider having. And with that being said, I encourage you to look at the types of insurances you currently have, review them, and see if you actually do or don't need them. And then on top of that, see which ones you can actually get cheaper by looking at the competitors of that type of insurance. In contrast, if there were any on my list that you don't currently have that you think you may need, I encourage you to look into that because it's only going to be of benefit to you having that protection. And for me, if there were any that I haven't really considered that you think should have been on this list, please leave a comment below and I'll get to it in a future video. Overall, I hope you learned something in today's video. I hope that it was insightful. If it was, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I will see you in the next video.